Newshour debate tonight. We have a few politicians who are for the talk, so they're also peaceniks in that sense. I'd like to introduce them first. Junaid Mattu of the National Conference is a peacenik. Ajay Kumar of the Congress Party is a peacenik. Samir Kaul of the PDP is also a peacenik. On the other side, we have Mahesh Jethmalani, who doesn't want the talks, Maruf, who agrees with Jethmalani, and Sushant Sareen. Meenakshi Lekhi, Member of Parliament of the BJP, represents the BJP point of view. So, Junaid Mattu, you want talks even now? After what has happened, you want the talks to continue? Or resume, or whatever you want?
Give me a moment to express my condolences to the families of our brave soldiers who have lost their lives serving the country. The police personnel as well as the civilians. This is an utterly unequivocally condemnable act, and nobody should condone it in any shape or form. Your question about talks, I have always maintained, Mr. Goswami, that talks does not imply being apologetic. Talks does not imply surrendering. Talks does not imply, appeasement. You have to talk from a position of strength. Talk to Pakistan not only about the resolution of issues, but talk to Pakistan that these incidents are unacceptable, that these incidents cannot be tolerated. Diplomacy is the only link between two hostile neighbors other than war. And I dread to say this, but I don't think war is an option.
You know, I'm so surprised sometimes, Junaid, and don't mind my saying this, but each time your line of argument sounds more and more superficial to me. What will we talk to Pakistan about is what I'd like to ask you. Trade? People are dying. You want to talk about trade with Pakistan? Visas?
No,
11 of our people have been killed. You want to talk about visas? 11 of our people have been killed. You want to talk about people-to-people contacts?
No.
You want to talk about what confidence-building measures?
Talk about trade at a time.
What do you want to talk about?
Soldiers have been killed.
What do you want to talk about?
Tell Pakistan that this is unacceptable.
Really? Haven't we told them many times?
Tell Pakistan we cannot tolerate this. Well, we don't have an option, do we?
You know.
I mean, the other option is war.
Sometimes
war
you should
has tremendous human cost.
Sometimes you should put national interests first. I'd like to get Sushant Sareen and Meenakshi Lekhi into the debate. You know, this kind of it can be a bookish approach, or it can be a misguided approach. But I hope it's not an ignorant approach. Meenakshi Lekhi, to those who still want talks, I'd like your view.
See, my point of view is very simple, and that is that while we conducted talks and attacks were being made on India, the only time peaceful conversation could actually happen was post-Operation Parakaram. And that is the position of strength. You convey your message. So conveying message at times, I think silence is the best language also, because silence conveys what the words cannot. And silence of India towards no talk situation is basically isolating Pakistan, and Pakistan is perturbed right now. These attacks which are happening as of now, in my assessment of things, are only going to increase and not decrease, for the simple reason ISIS is expanding its base towards South Asia, one. Two, Hafiz Saeed is having a conclave of terrorists, and certain changes which we can see around is Pakistan naval ship. There was an attempt to hijack that by none other than the naval officers within Pakistani army. So Al-Qaeda infiltration, Jamaat infiltration, etc. So army as an institution in Pakistan also stands fail today, because one doesn't know whether terrorists are controlling or the army, which is a force to protect.
Should I just open up the debate? I'm not going for initial comments of everyone. I'm opening up the debate. Who would like to come into the debate from either among the peaceniks or those who are not? Sushant Sareen wants to come in. I'm pointing out just one question tonight. Are the lives of 8 Armymen and 3 policemen and 1 civilian worth nothing for the peaceniks? Sushant Sareen.
Arnab, I think you just need to put this debate in a certain context. Number one, when we talk about talks with Pakistan, what are we talking about? We have a mission in Pakistan. The Pakistanis have a mission in India. We have official level contacts with them all the time. So in a sense, talks are happening. Now, what Mr. Mattu and others of his ilk are talking about is to take it to a political level. My problem with that is that you have already tried it a number of times in the past, and all the things which Mr. Mattu is saying that, we need to tell the Pakistanis that this is unacceptable. I'm sure the Pakistanis know it is unacceptable, and yet they continue doing what they are doing. So clearly that tack is not going to work, and it's not going to work because, frankly speaking, I'm increasingly convinced that normalization of relations with a country where the mainstream is being radicalized, I don't see how you're going to be able to normalize relations with such a country. So you really need to move on from this bit about
an open debate,
a dialogue or a political level dialogue with the Pakistanis. You need to now start working out the options. And where I disagree with Mr. Mattu is that, just between holding talks and going to war, there is a huge space in between all of that, which you need to exercise so that even if you are going to hold talks, the other side is
I'll tell you one thing. Sushant, I'm just one, by the way, it's an open debate. I want to get everyone in. Who talks of war the most? Just think of it. Who talks of war the most? You know who talks of war the most? Sushant? It's the Peaceniks who talk of war. It's the Peaceniks. It is the track 3, track 4, track 5. They talk of war the most because they want to present a scenario where not talking is equal to war. No, one second. First of all, do you admit?
Their hospitality goes for a toss. No? That's how they receive hospitality.
Yeah, they lose their hospitality. They don't get the 5-star luxuries. They won't travel around the world. Do you admit?
If silence was working, we would not have had.
Sir, Junaid, a minute. A point that needs to be made, and I am today asking this question to all those. All those people who have been part of the 5 circuit and this circuit and that circuit, and all those people who accept Pakistani hospitality, then they go for Qawwali sessions in Pakistan, and on the sidelines of 5-star lunches say, let's have a little talk about how to bring about peace, and then go back and enjoy life once again. We are funded very well. The Pakistanis are funding us. My question is very simply this, Samir call, do you realize?
I don't hold brief.
Only the Peaceniks talk about war. Because the moment the spectre of war goes away, they will lose their jobs and their livelihoods. Samir call, why are you a Peacenik? Why are you a Peacenik?
Let's get some sense. Let's get some sense into this debate.
There's enough sense into the debate. Do respond.
Sushant, Sareen, we will. I'm responding to you. I'm telling you. Is your option war?
No, who's talking of war? Option is to not talk to them. Option is to not talk to them. How is not talking to them equal war? How does not talking to them equal war? No, how does not talking to them equal war? How does not talking to them equal war? Answer my question. I'm not talking to the Pakistanis. How does it mean war?
If you don't,
I'll ignore them.
If you don't talk to them, it makes no difference anyways.
Oh, no. So I won't talk to them. Maruf.
It makes no difference anyways.
Maruf.
I'm talking about diplomatic pressure.
This is the most.
I'm talking about economic pressure. I'm talking about covert activity. I'm talking about putting democracy in Jammu and Kashmir to a certain level that you can counter the non-democratic Pakistan. Put all those things in action. While you are talking, what about diplomatic pressure? What about economic pressure? What about covert activity?
Yeah, so we won't talk.
Why are you ignoring all that?
No, we'll do all of that, but we won't talk. We won't talk to the Pakistanis. We will not talk. No, we will. No, one second. My question is to all these. There are some people.
You have to.
You see, there are some.
That and yet
listen. So, no, one second. Samir, just a minute. Samir, a minute. Can I just say something? There are some. Maruf, I'm coming to you. Just one sentence. There are some failed writers, some one-book wonders, who don't write anymore. They neither have facts nor are they journalists. They just make a living today by abusing their own country in Indian publications, ironically. I am asking all those misguided people, those ignorant people, since when Maruf does not talking equal war? I know for a long time during the Cold War, Russia, USSR and America did not talk. They were not at war. How does it mean war? It's only this Peaceniks who call it war. Maruf wants to come in. Maruf.
Then it would mean
Maruf.
maintaining status quo. And status quo means
maintain the status quo. We will not talk to you. We'll render you irrelevant.
Maruf. But people are still dying.
Arnab, we've heard.
People are dying.
We've heard both.
You've got to make
Maruf.
We've heard.
Maruf.
It's happening on our bodies.
Maruf.
Arnab, gentlemen, please give me 2 minutes. Just let me explain something. If you want peace, you must understand the causes of the conflict or the causes of the war. In this case, it is very clearly being orchestrated by the Pakistani military establishment, which is convinced, and I'm quoting recognized authors who have done a lot of research, that any peace process with India would put the Pakistani military at a huge disadvantage, whether in the political plane in Pakistan or vis-a-vis India. And they use cheap fodder, willing suicide bombers and Fidayeen attackers to accomplish their purpose of keeping Kashmir on the boil, so that the international community feels that there is an issue on Kashmir where everyone must get involved. Quite clearly, we have not explored the space, as Mr. Sareen brought out and Mr. Kaul brought out. We have not explored adequate space between not talking and going to war. There is the space where diplomatic penalties can put pain onto Pakistan, can put International Court of Justice related penalties which will make Pakistan squirm. You are wasting your time hoping that a handshake with Nawaz Sharif will lead to anything.
Yes.
He is marginalized. He has no political clout over the military which runs the Kashmir policy. Benazir Bhutto was on record. Benazir Bhutto was on record. Sir, please let me complete. Benazir Bhutto was on record to say that she was arm twisted and it was the worst mistake of her life to follow the army's policy on Kashmir. Nawaz Sharif, if he lives long enough to write his memoirs, will say the same thing. I am saying very clearly, if you wish to talk, if at any stage, please remember, you have to get those people onto the table who are orchestrating such attacks. And only then will the talk move forward, not left to diplomatic niceties, but to hard talk. You have to define your red lines. We have not defined our red lines as to what we will expect from Pakistan,
where are the Peaceniks
and how
tonight?
we will respond.
Where are the Peaceniks tonight, Maruf?
And last point, Arnab.
Where are the Peaceniks, Maruf, tonight?
Arnab, my last point, Peaceniks are not just here. Arnab, Peaceniks are not just on the Indian side. Every retired general from the Pakistan army who's out of business gets onto the track 2 circuit. When in his life did he make a pro-India statement? All of them make pro-India statements in Dubai and elsewhere, where they go and live in 5-star hotels, and then they do all kind of, pro-India and pro-Pakistan talking. The reality of the matter is, you've got to talk and talk with a position of strength to those guys who are orchestrating this anti-India campaign.
There are
Pakistan.
some. Why don't Ajay Kumar,
which don't want to talk to India.
Ajay Kumar needs to come into the debate. Mahesh Jethmalani's line is back, and Meenakshi Lekhi also has a hand up for some time. Meenakshi, coming to you, but before that, I just want to ask Ajay Kumar. Ajay Kumar, just realize this. Tonight, let's talk straight tonight. There are some out-of-work politicians in your party also. Some of them managed to get some party nomination in the Rajya Sabha. They like to make controversial comments to remain relevant. You know who I'm talking about, but they are largely out of work people. They are rejects from the political and social space. The only place where these out of work politicians from your party, and you know who I'm talking, get accepted is in this track 3, track 4, and they feel a little important. Now, my question to you is, since when, why do you let these people misguide the country by saying not talking is equal to war? We won't talk to a country that extends full patronage to terrorists. We won't talk to a country that says that we have no control over Hafiz Saeed. And why are you still a peacenik?
First question is,
why is Rahul Gandhi still a peacenik?
One sec. So one sec. I think the label is very unfortunate from your part. But first of all, and you labeled me as peacenik. So
you're not a peacenik.
Get on to what should be done. And one sec. And
are you a peacenik?
No. In the sense, one sec. Let me complete my statement. I am saying that the first important issue is that don't let the government get away because you're saying, okay, you shouldn't talk, fine. But what are you doing to ensure pressure is there on Pakistan? Did you raise it in the SARC? Did you put external, pressure? Take an example. I mean, and Meenakshi is on the. You go to the United States, you raise a lot of, hullabaloo and say that you're doing. One sec. Let me complete. What I'm saying is the number of ceasefire violations have increased to 150. The number of terrorist incidents. That means what we are doing is not working. So we are not saying talk to them, but what are you doing? Are you internationalizing the incident adequately in your favor? Are you giving data?
No. 1 second. Meenakshi will respond.
Players in the world.
Meenakshi will respond.
I'm sorry, sir.
The question is political.
We are not doing enough.
Let Meenakshi take it.
It is not that we are not doing. We are not doing enough internationally.
Again, what
Let
are you
Meenakshi
doing?
take it.
What are you doing to put pressure on Pakistan?
Absolutely
Ajay Kumar, Congress spokesperson, being taken on by BJP spokesperson Meenakshi Lekhi.
Mr. Ajay Kumar is absolutely incorrect because whenever they were talking, the casualties were far greater. And right now, the Pakistan stands isolated in various forms internationally. And what Pakistan tried to do in SARC, they never succeeded. So that is a victory for us. One, and the Pakistan government, when you talk about it's a named government. If ISI is controlling, who are you talking to? Nawaz Sharif, you can't talk to because he has no power or no real authority. And do you want to start talking to ISIS or ISI?
No, who do you want to talk to? No, who do you want to talk to?
I want to ask you a
No, 1 second. Who do you want to talk to? Mahesh Jetbalani wants to come into the debate. No, your policy, and I've said tonight, the Congress party policy, Mahesh Jetbalani will come in, but the Congress party policy towards Pakistan has been a policy of opportunism. When you were in power, Ajay, you gave them a long rope. Now you are in the opposition. You are demanding an immediate response.
No, but
you've been opportunists on Pakistan.
Tell me something. Why, when we were in one second. Okay, tell me something. When we were in power, why was One sec, Meenakshi, let me complete. Meenakshi, let me complete. When we were in power, why was the ceasefire violations lesser? Was it more effective? Why was the incidences in the past?
Who says it was lesser? It was rising every year.
They were not.
They were rising every year.
Why is Pakistan? One sec. Let me complete. Why is Pakistan occupied?
Be factually correct.
What? Again, it's not false. It's not false. One sec. I got the data from the government website. One sec.
I'll give you the data right now.
You can't get away because the data from the government. The government website says.
1 second. Ajay, Mahesh Jetbalani taking you on. Ajay, 1 second. Mahesh Jetbalani hasn't spoken yet. Mahesh Jetbalani versus Ajay Kumar.
Just
Mahesh Jetbalani, please. Let Mr. Jetbalani speak.
One information.
Let Mr. Jetbalani speak, sir.
Arnav, foreign policy and especially policy vis-a-vis Pakistan should be bipartisan. Wait a minute, Ajay, you've spoken and you said a lot right now. It should be bipartisan and we should not be indulging in petty politics and saying and distorting facts and saying there were more ceasefire violations now than there were in your time. Now let me just say this.
You kept saying during the election. No, you kept telling during elections.
What?
You kept telling during elections that एक सिपाही मरेगा 10 को मारेंगे. You said कि 56 inch का छाती चाहिए. Where is the question of bipartisan? You are telling bipartisan for whole election. You kept insulting the government of India.
Meenakshi Lekhi.
Your argument.
Are you an Indian?
Ajay Sharma, your arguments are pathetic. They are street. They are meant for gully politics. They are not meant for intelligible debate. Please don't reduce it to that level. There are three reasons why.
Because
there are three. Please, Ajay, you've had your say. There's no point rabble rousing and making cheap political points. It is not even based. You are doing a great disservice to your party and the country by doing that. Let me just see. Let me.
When you did it,
we never did it. We never did it.
That's funny. When you did it, it was not. No, why did you politicize the beheading of Indian soldiers?
What you haven't done.
Why did you politicize the beheading of Indian soldiers?
I will tell you what your
you did that, right?
Cowardly government did not do. If you just wait and listen now.
No, one
I'll
sec.
tell you.
You tell me. You tell me who politicized the beheading of Indian soldiers.
The best time to have brought Pakistan to its knees, Ajay Kumar, was when 26/11 took place.
You should have used that to make sure that the perpetrators of 26/11, you should have said no talks unless 26/11 perpetrators are brought to book. Instead, you repeatedly talked. You talked about Hindu terrorism. You talked about Samjhauta Express, and you gave Pakistan. You gave Pakistan.
I compliment the Congress Party. I compliment the Congress Party. I'm paying you a compliment. Ajay, listen, please. Ajay, listen. Ajay, I'm paying you a compliment. Ajay, I'm paying you a compliment. Ajay, I'm paying you a compliment. And my compliment is to you for 1 second. 1 second. For perfecting your role as a spokesperson, Ajay Kumar, by executing what I can only call the greatest political somersault in the history of Indian politics, by saying today, let us be tough on Pakistan. So you say be tough on Pakistan. I want to tell you, I want to ask you, how tough were you with Pakistan? Listen to me, please, Ajay. How tough were you vis-a-vis Pakistan in September 2006 when your Candy Floss Prime Minister Manmohan Singh equated Pakistan with India as a victim of terrorism in Havana months after the July train bombings? After the Sharm el-Sheikh statement, when you mentioned Balochistan, at the SAARC summit, when you called Gilani a man of peace after the serial blast in Mumbai? No, you have an answer for me tonight? You want to tell people today, let's be tough? Why were you not tough?
Let me ask you a question.
Why were you not tough?
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. No, so let me ask. No, let me ask you
what question? You answer mine.
Ask a counter question. What has happened? No, what has happened? No, what has happened? What has happened to the Bharatiya Janata Party's claim? No. So what is BJP's claim before election saying we will?
Meenakshi will respond now. Meenakshi will. Meenakshi, ask the question. Meenakshi will respond.
And who was talking to Sajad Lone? And tell me something, Arnab. Who was talking to Sajad Lone?
So
who are the guys who have been speaking to Sajad Lone?
Meenakshi responding. Ajay, please let others speak.
Who was talking to Sajad Lone?
You were talking to the separate elements in the country.
Meenakshi Lekhi is responding.
Elements in the country. Come on.
Now, the contradiction
Meenakshi Lekhi is responding.
Large. It is so writ large because Sajad Lone happens to be an Indian citizen who wants to participate in democratic process. 71 to 72% people participate in democratic process, and that is giving cold feet to Pakistanis. And he is comparing Sajad Lone with Hafiz Saeed. I mean, come on, get your facts right, mister. You don't understand the difference between a terrorist, a person who has been wrong and has chosen to tread the right path. Isn't Indian government all about mainstreaming the people?
Fantastic.
Of course, Bharatiya Janata Party is a nationalist.
By the BJP
and reform is something which even IPC recognizes. And you have been a police officer in the past who doesn't understand the punity, penalty and reformatory acts of the government.
Maruf and Samir Kaul coming back to the debate, gentlemen. 1 second. Maruf, Samir Kaul, Sushant Sareen, Maruf. One at a time. I'm only saying make your points tonight. Make your points tonight. I am telling the viewers tonight, I'm summarizing what has happened today. 8 army personnel have been martyred. 3 policemen have been killed. 1 civilian have been killed. 13 civilians have been injured. Are we supposed to overlook this and go back? No, 1 second. Tomorrow in the lobbies of the 5-star hotels in Delhi, the same Peaceniks circuit will come out because that is their bread and butter. Samir, it is their bread and butter. It is their bread and butter, Samir.
On national television.
The cottage industry is their bread and butter, Samir.
Can I, on national television, accuse both the Congress and the BJP for not dealing with the situation appropriately? Because it has brought nothing but death and flow of blood on my body, the body of Jammu and Kashmir. This whole thing is being staged on my unfortunate body, and both the parties keep blaming each other and not dealing with the situation appropriately.
And you do.
They haven't brought me peace, is all I know. We have been crying for peace all this while. But there's another thing that I would like to tell them. That the strong dose of democracy that the current elections are going to infuse into the scenario.
Political statement. Irrespective of which party wins these elections, 72% people participating in democratic process is hurting Pakistan. Do you understand that? And
Yes,
this
of
is
course.
what BJP government in the center can
Not-
bring.
so-
More
so-
democratic
Just
process.
keep accusing each
Whichever
other.
party may win.
Both of you have not dealt
you
with the
know,
situation
Arna-
appropriately.
And you
I
did
would like
nothing
to
all
bring
this while
charge
you
to
were in the
media
government.
also.
Grain is
And
okay.
I would like to, we have been
says
trying, we have been
don't give
dying on the
somebody
ground,
gain as
madam.
long as I get
Just to
power is
remind
okay
you
for
that
the
we are,
country.
it is happening on my body.
You've been dying, and
are
as
the ones
if
who are dying.
you've been dying
We are
alone,
throwing
and
our
the
blood.
army personnel and others have not been dying, and people across
Of course
India
they are.
have not
Of
died
course
because
they
of
are.
jihadi
They are
terrorism.
part of us.
Then how are you rating
But
Jammu and Kashmir terrorism different from
today-
rest of
but both
India?
political
Do you
parties-
understand that
Today,
the
at least Samir call, today at least stop your politics. One second. One second. I know it's the middle of your election campaign, but Samir call,
no politics at
Samir call, today stop your politics.
there is no
Your
politics at
party
all.
leader Mehbooba
There is no
Mufti, your party leader Mehbooba Mufti
of course.
has made the most outrageous comment of the entire election process today.
Of course not.
She says,
Why
she
do you
says,
find it
let me tell you
outrageous?
what she says.
Why?
Let me tell you what she
outrageous
says.
about it? Of course it's
Let
true.
me tell the people what she
Of
says.
course it's true that the media campaign of pricking and provoking Pakistan every time to stage a comeback into this game.
Right.
We have been trying to promote democratic politics in the state. Because that
Maruf,
the
this
only
is
thing
really
that wins the
unfortunate.
game.
One second. Maruf wants to
Political,
respond to you. One
democratic
second.
game.
Before Maruf's response to you, before Maruf responds to you, Samir call, I want to tell the viewers. I would not. Before Maruf will respond, but before that, just give me a second. I want to tell the viewers what Mehbooba Mufti said. Just give me 15 seconds. Mehbooba Mufti says the Indian media is mad. She says the Indian media is mad. These are her words. The media is mad. And why is the media mad? Because the media is mad according to Mehbooba Mufti Maruf. She says because the media is mad because we have been running stories about the high voter turnout. No. She says, Maruf, that the media is mad because we are running stories for the high voter turnout. So Mehbooba Mufti won't question Pakistan. She'll say it's because the media spoke of the high voter turnout that the ISI has decided to attack the army camp. I have not heard a more outrageous comment in my life. Maruf.
It is already
Maruf.
already understood that
Maruf.
Pakistan has been
Maruf.
with India
Mr. Call,
in
Mr.
Jammu
Call.
and Kashmir.
Maruf Raza.
Already
Call.
understood.
Maruf Raza.
And
Mr. Call,
it is already
please give somebody else a chance. Ornab, see, there are three quick points. Mr. Call, Mr. Call, please hear me
Mr.
out.
Call, let Maruf Raza speak.
Mr. Call, please. Mr. Call, don't, Mr. Call, with respect, please don't defend the indefensible. Miss Mehbooba Mufti is being rather naive and assuming that Pakistan's intelligence agencies wait for India's news media to tell them what's happening in J&K. They have their own eyes and ears. A top-class terrorist outfit doesn't wait for Indian newspapers and television reports to tell them what election voting is taking place if the tide is turning against them. All over the world, this has been the trend, and Pakistan's pretty much specialized in promoting cross-border terror. Second point, you are hoping to have talks. Please hear me, sir. Please hear me, sir. Hear me, sir.
1 minute.
Hear me out, sir.
Mr.
Call,
1 minute, let him speak.
Mr. Call, hear me out, be objective. Mr. Call, hear me out. Mr. Call, hear me out. Please listen to me. Second point. You are interrupting. Please listen to me.
Let Maruf Raza speak, please.
Mr. Call, please listen to me.
Let Maruf speak, please.
Mr. Call, I am moving away from Mehbooba Mufti. But let me tell you, you're wanting to talk to a political leadership in Pakistan, you're wanting to talk to a political leadership in Pakistan which is irrelevant, and they're not going to be functional for the next 5 or 10 years. You want to talk to somebody in Pakistan, then arm twist them to coming onto the table on people who will sign on a dotted line and deliver. You can't expect those politicians in Pakistan who are tutored what to say at the UN, who are tutored what to say to the rallies in Lahore and Islamabad, that India is sponsoring terrorism in Kashmir. Nawaz Sharif is doing that. He's no friend of India. And let me tell you, finally, it is Congress politicians and former cabinet ministers who are even now in the business of track 2 diplomacy. And they are talking to Pakistani generals who collectively have not had the spine to go back to their juniors and Rawalpindi and tell them turn the course. We are wasting our time talking to Pakistan till we can put enough leverage on them diplomatically, financially, legally, internationally, marginalize the country and then talk business.
And tonight, tonight,
Maruf, in track 2 events is going to lead us nowhere.
Yeah, and Maruf, tonight I think the time has come to expose all those people who say if you don't talk to Pakistan, you're a warmonger. You know, who are these shallow, uneducated, half-literates from the Peaceniks circuit who say not talking to Pakistan equals warmongering?
Arnab, did any of them say that to the United States because they didn't talk to Iran?
Arnab, just tell me.
No, they won't say it to the United States, Maruf. Because, one second. I want to ask these Peaceniks, I want to ask these Peaceniks today one question. Sushant, I want to ask the Peaceniks one question. Will they tell America to talk to the ISIS? Sushant, will they?
Okay, so I want to ask you a question.
Will they tell America to talk to the ISIS?
But let me just come back.
Sushant.
Let me give you a bit of a reality check. The first thing is that, most of these Peaceniks tell us that there is no option but a dialogue because ultimately everything is settled on the table. That is utter nonsense. At the end of the day, things are settled on the ground and the modalities of the settlement are actually put down on the table. So let us settle things on the ground first. Secondly, the government of India, once it takes a particular policy position, then it must logically follow that policy position to its conclusion. We very often have seen that we take a position up to a point of time and then 3 months, 6 months down the line, we start second-guessing ourselves and then, revert back to normal and then start pursuing this political dialogue tack, and ultimately the Pakistanis think that they have figured us out. The third thing I want to say is that, this government laid down certain red lines insofar as Pakistan hobnobbing with separatists and other things was concerned. We suspended the dialogue. When they started firing on the line of control, we gave them a response of the sorts which they had not seen in the last 15 years. Now what they have done is yet another red line which has been breached. Unfortunately, and on this point I agree with Ajay Kumar up to a point. The only problem with these politicians is that they get so passionate that they can't articulate what they have to say. And my point is that when they start hemorrhaging us, when they start bleeding us, what will be the response of the government at that point of time? I think all those graded responses need to be worked out so that every time a red line is breached by the Pakistani side, there is a firm riposte and a very robust riposte which goes to the Pakistani side. My only fear is that, like the previous government, will this government stay the course, or will it 6 months down the line again go back to the table and try and appeal?
Meenakshi Lekhi, couple of minutes left. Meenakshi Lekhi, please. Meenakshi Lekhi.
To the statement is that shelling has decreased for the simple reason. In response to shelling and crossing the line, there was heavier shelling from our side and Pakistan was losing ground.
Absolutely.
So what they have started is Fidayeen attacks. If you see the pattern, the pattern has changed from shelling to Fidayeen attack, and we need to put our act together that in response to Fidayeen attacks, what our response is going to be.
What do you mean absolute bunkam, Ajay Kumar?
That's an absolute fable. Because one sec, let me complete. Give you an example, and if you don't
Mr. Ajay Kumar, I think I don't know how you served in police, but you are not getting your facts right, even about terrorism.
One sec.
Shelling
you are not
has
getting your facts
decreased.
right, Meenakshi. I will ask you a question.
Shelling has decreased because there was a higher response from our side.
Okay,
and they changed their tack and they brought more Fidayeen attack, whether it was Mehran, Karachi, Wagha, and what happened today in Uri. It is all connected. See the larger picture. So they have increased the Fidayeen attack, and we need to be ready what our response is going to be towards Fidayeen attack.
Arnab, this is again trying to create a picture that we were affected. This is absolutely bunkam, because why are the attacks increasing? The other question is, the Chinese have invested in the Pak-occupied Kashmir in the past few months. One sec, let me complete. One sec, let me complete. The Chinese have invested more than what they have promised the Prime Minister in Pak-occupied Kashmir. What is your response overall? The whole policy is going apart. You're not able to counter anything.
But what was your response in the last 10 years when they were making those investments?
That is what scares me.
Mike, 1 second. Last point tonight.
This was happened in the past 6 months.
Point
Look at the
tonight. It's a
investment.
sincere appeal.
Look at Mahesh. Mahesh, get your facts correct.
Mahesh Jetmalani, quick response.
In your time,
Mahesh Jetmalani, I let Mr. Jetmalani.
Armed
Investments are more than the total.
Mahesh Jetmalani,
You are
please.
saying they never did anything.
10 seconds to Mr. Jetmalani. 10 seconds to Jetmalani.
This is the whole problem. This is the whole problem. You're not ready to accept the things are getting worse.
Go ahead, Mr. Jetmalani.
And the
You
soldiers
start
are
accepting facts.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Yes, soldiers are dying, and you are the one who keeps talking about
Let's stay out of the petty. Let's stay. Meenakshi, 1 minute, please.
You're quoting facts. If the facts are good for BJP, then we are doing a great job.
Yes, Mr. Jetmalani. Go ahead, quickly. Go ahead, make your point.
It's a bad fact.
Arnab, very quickly, in an ideal world, you should be talking and warmongering should be the last resort. We have talked. The point is, everybody has been patient in this matter. After all, every person who is fed up, who is to not talk, is hawk, is a dove,
Yeah.
repeatedly mugged, and in this case, and this is mugged by Pakistan. So we have changed our stand. We reached a point of no return. There are 3 reasons why you shouldn't be talking, essentially. Let me put it in a nutshell. One is, you don't know whom you are to talk to in Pakistan. There's complete seamlessness between civil society, the elected politicians, the army and the ISI. There is nobody. There's a complete unanimity now about exporting terror and especially making India its target. Secondly, talks have failed. We've done it. We've given it a long rope. The previous government has been almost pusillanimous in talks in spite of repeated attacks, and they've had the talks have had their chance. And lastly, Arnav, you must not talk, because now talks are being mistaken as a sign of weakness. In the face of repeated assaults on India, if we now talk, having drawn...
And my last question...
And hats off to the Prime Minister...
And my last question...
Yes.
And my last question is to Junaid Mattu, please. My last question is to Junaid Mattu. Junaid, many a time, short of abuse, your Chief Minister has always questioned the army. Today, 8 army men and 3 members of the Jammu and Kashmir police have laid down their lives. Why doesn't Omar Abdullah, in his next speech, begin by talking about the valor of the Indian Army personnel and the Jammu and Kashmir police personnel? Why does he not mention them by name, each one of them, and then have a minute's silence in their honor? Why doesn't he do that?
He doesn't do that.
Let him do that.
No, thank you for remembering I'm on the show too. Thank you for remembering.
No, you could not answer. That's why probably you stayed out.
Talking about the No. I didn't want to interrupt. And also thank you for remembering and stating that policemen from J&K police have lost their lives.
No, it's been mentioned since the beginning of the show. Don't make shallow comments on the program.
The Chief Minister started his remarks on this issue by condemning what has happened and paying homage and tribute to the soldiers who have lost their lives. And his statement is out there. The condemnation has come. It's unequivocal.
Let him say it in a political rally.
Strong condemnation.
Let him rise above politics.
To say it. I don't think you get to choose the medium of his political communication.
Why not? Why can't we suggest?
Is feasible.
Why can't we suggest?
You can suggest. You're free to suggest.
Carry the suggestion, Junaid.
I'm sure your suggestion has been noted. But Omar Abdullah has unequivocally condemned what has happened, and he has paid tribute and homage to the troops who have lost their lives.
Not good enough, Junaid. Not good enough. Anyway, gentlemen, tonight we all pay homage to these. Yeah, Meenakshi, short of time, Meenakshi. But I think we all agree. Okay, you want to make a quick point? Okay, 10 seconds to you. Go ahead. And then we'll wrap.
Just one line. Shama shobti us bhujang ko jiske paas garal ho. So you can't talk of peace without coming from this place of strength.
And I think
the strength lies in silence.
and this entire country, this entire country today, this entire country must come together and expose these so-called self-styled peaceniks who spread the falsehood that not talking equal to war. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, the only people who talk about war all the time, because it pays for their lives, are the peaceniks. Let's expose them all. Thank you for joining me on this debate on the Newshour tonight.
Thank you.